Hey, this is me building a $3 million per year business in public. The way these videos always go is I start with some YouTube comment Q&A just to deliver value to my viewers. It's also a growth hack on my end. Speaking of growth, we do them across YouTube, Instagram, and products. Main products being the Maker School community here that's generating $305,000 a month right now. And then finally, I do some daily business improvement. And right now I'm obviously focused on that because it's the big revenue driver. Main channel is at 137K subs. This one's almost at 6,900. And all I do is I just take like the comment thread and I scroll all the way down to the bottom. And then I just answer the oldest one. I just work my way up. So that's what we're doing today. Looks like this last question is, can you please tell us from Satis the plan you're using for ChatGPT, Claude, or the likes? It looks like they're a basic need in AI automations, and I just don't know if using the more expensive plan is worth it since I can barely afford a $20 one. Also, I'm a total noob and just learning N8N from your well-done videos, so I wanted to ask, is N8N enough, or do I have to learn Make and the rest? Do I really sell clients just automations instead of making like a custom dashboard or some sort of thing to make it easy to understand? And how do I practice selling this stuff? I'm kind of new at it. Great questions, man. So to make a long story short, I just use ChatGPT for everything. The reason why isn't because ChatGPT is the best at everything, but just because the way these frontier models work is they're all more or less at the same point right now. One will come ahead just slightly, 3 to 5 percentage points on some new eval, and then another one 2 weeks later will do the same thing. And it'll just be, I don't know, sort of just like these small, minor incremental improvements at the very, very bleeding edge, which doesn't really mean much for me as somebody that's just using them, for like business purposes. I'm not using them to like try and uncover the meaning of life or whatever, right? So yeah, that's just what I do. That helps me avoid shiny object syndrome. And then I just get really used to like using this particular API, which makes me a lot faster. Is N8N enough? Yeah, for sure. Do I really sell clients just automations? Well, no. I mean, there are like multiple different ways to go about it. You asking this question is a great one because it leads me into the idea of packaging. And so if you think about it, there's the service or the product that you sell, and then there's the packaging around that service or product. So the service or the product that we are selling right now is AI automation, preferably some specific part of their business that we are AI and automating. And that's the thing. But then the only thing that the customer actually sees, they don't see the thing itself because they don't know anything about AI automations. They don't know what cloud infrastructure means, right? The only thing they see is the packaging. So what that means is the packaging is your opportunity to add perceived value to the product or service. And so if you're really good at this packaging stuff, you could sell a total pile of shit, basically, then you could still print money. Not saying that you should, and I don't really think that's the way to go. But like, what you do is you deal with what is inside of this box, okay? So you deal with all of the AI and automations and, I don't know, cool cloud builds and so on and so on and so forth. And that's like what you deal with, okay? But what the client sees from the outside in, they just see the box itself, okay? So if I could show you what the client sees, they just see the box. So what does that mean for you as somebody that's trying to make money selling this box? That means that you got to add a really nice bow on top of that box. You got to make it shiny and really sexy. So your question, these look like more like Caillou hair strands than actual bows. If the client is going to be looking at this, you got to make this as sexy and presentable as possible. One way to do so is creating custom dashboards. Other ways are, a lot of these automations just end up giving you a notification or an email or something like that. You just make the notification or the email really sexy. And then, yeah, you're good to go. So practicing selling this stuff, really the best way to do so is you don't need to practice selling this stuff. Just go and sell this stuff. The practice is in the selling of the stuff, okay? That way you kind of 80-20, you get to earn while you learn. It's way better to do it that way, I find. Miguel says, hey, Nick, just trying to stand out and offering lead gen services via cold email. Any tips to position this popular service in an original way? Don't call it lead gen, call it something else. Instead of calling it lead generation, talk about how like you acquire or you have access to a network of people that are hyper-specific in exactly what they want, or you're swimming in leads. You're somebody that works in the same industry as the client, but you're swimming in leads and you wanted to see if there might be an opportunity to do a partnership where you sell them leads on like a pay-per-meeting basis or whatever. Variety of different ways to do it. But yeah, swerve left when everybody else goes right, I would say. Russabus says, hey, Nick, I've been setting up Godspeed, to-do lists, advanced hotkeys, and prioritizing could use some help. If you give us tips on effective to-do lists and hotkey tips like starting your OBS setup, that'd be a super valuable hack for a lot of us. So I want to automate opening my browser with multiple tabs for job apps. Well, this is actually great. You can do this directly in like the Chrome settings. So I think you go customize profile. Geez, where is it? I think it's Chrome and then settings over here. And then default browser on startup here, you can actually launch specific pages. So like when I open this Chrome instance, it opens my Creator Studio, Excalidraw, Deliverable Tracker, Daily Updates, Playground, and then Workflow Automation. Why? Because I click one button and then I open everything I need for these. So that's a really quick and easy way to do it. When I'm an idea and I want to bookmark it, I just set a reminder for an hour from now so it reminds me to organize or roast that idea, please. No, I wouldn't do that, man. Instead of having it try and remind you, just you build your own SOP in place where like every day in the morning, you just go through all of the stuff you dumped in the inbox last night. Do that maybe like, I don't know, once I don't know, once every 3 or 4 hours or something, and then you'll be a lot better off. Constantly task prioritizing is very efficient too. I'm not very good at that. Are using the now, soon, and later separate list approach. I do a now and then a waiting. So an inbox, now, and then waiting. So inbox is just like the catch-all where you shove everything in there. This is just a project management methodology. It's David Allen's getting things done. So I have like inbox where I shove everything in there, and then if it's actionable, I move it to now, and then if it is in now, then I do it. Sorry. If it's actionable, then I do it immediately, and then if not, then I put it in now or next actions, and then soon or waiting or whatever comes over here. So I do a simplified version of it, but this is what mine looks like basically, and I end up just doing a lot of the tasks in 2-minute blocks, which is pretty cool. Matt talks about just Apple Notes. Is there a way to sync that with Godspeed? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'll be honest. Like, it is very much one of those things where the system that you use is less important than the habits that you build and then the concepts there and the standard operating procedures you have. Matt talks about Apple Notes, but he also is known to just like write on pen and paper. When I went over to his place a few months ago, we're talking Matthew Larsen, one of the guys that I run a podcast with. He scaled an agency to over $900,000 a month. When I went over to his place, he just had a bunch of printouts with his tasks for the day. And I was like, dude, what the hell is this? He's like, these are my tasks for the day. And I'm like, you printed this? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what the heck's wrong with you? Why are you printing this? And he's like, well, me spending an additional 1 minute printing this is very little work in the grand scheme of things. And if it makes me even 1% more likely to do the thing since it's physical, since I'm touching it, then isn't it worth it? And I was like, yeah, shit, that's a good point. So obviously there are other costs to that. But yeah, that's a good approach there. Good way to think about it, I would say, Russ. Levinto says, I'm sending cold emails to digital marketing agencies. After some of my first emails, I got a negative one that threatens to call the authorities. We're going to call the cops on you. Is it normal for everyone else, or is it just the copy? I would even consider sending you my copy to review it if this continues. That sounds good. Feel free to just drop it as like a reply to this, and I'm more than happy to. So listen, man, I've talked a lot about this sort of stuff before, and I'm not a lawyer, and this isn't legal advice, but the way that I see it, these acts and these laws and these regulations, they are written extraordinarily vaguely on purpose. Because the more vaguely they're written, the more people opt in to opting out of sending cold emails, just because they're afraid. And a lot of people's risk calculus is much more on the safety side of things than the make it or break it, move fast and break things side of it, like mine is. So I'm not a lawyer, and this isn't legal advice. My thoughts are, there are people that are way bigger fish that the government is realistically going to want to catch before they ever come down to you, Levinto, the guy sending 20 cold emails a day per mailbox that are hyper-personalized and customized and are delivering some sort of value, that whose details you are getting off of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is a platform where you kind of opt in to receiving business communications anyway. So there's the guy sending 80 million spam emails selling, bank crypto scams a day. And then there's a million other people, and then there's you. Right. So where are they really going to start is my thought. So I don't know, man. That's just my thoughts on it. I don't know for sure, but just want to let you know where I'm at with this stuff and why I don't personally worry too much about it. Joel says, hey, Nick, love your content. What advice would you give to someone who can't close deals? I lost 5 clients because I couldn't pitch. Even the 5th client said I should work on my pitch. Help me, bro. Meat says, firstly, you're generating leads. Congrats. Second, partner with some salespeople kind of in some sort of rev share split. If they close it, you can get many good partnerships from school communities. Then Joel says, but I'm not in school, so what should I do? Just join school. He's not talking to my community. You don't have to pay money for it specifically. There's a bunch of free communities and stuff like that as well. But that's certainly one way you could do it. I'm pretty sure Meat is in my community. What's going on, Meat? Good to see you. And yeah, man. So you listen, you definitely got to work on the pitch. But I'll be honest, the more important thing isn't the actual pitch itself. The more important thing is that you just stick to a process and you just refine that process and get good at it. You can sell it with more or less any method nowadays. As long as you just do the reps, you will get good enough at selling with that method. So how do I sell personally? I just treat every call not as a pitch like you're doing, but more as just an opportunity for me to learn something about their business, and then an opportunity for me to give them something that might help them. So it's called a discovery, where I basically just do needs evaluation. So I ask them stuff like, hey, so what made you jump on this call? You probably get tons of cold emails every day. Well, I know for a fact you get tons of cold emails every day. Probably 20 hit your mailbox selling something similar to me. So why are you talking to me? Was there something about what I did that stood out to you? They say, yeah, this stood out, and that's why I wanted to jump on a call. And you're like, okay, great. That's what they want. They just told me what they wanted. Then it's okay, cool. So, what are your goals here? What are your intentions? And they're like, oh, well, I want to learn more about X, Y, and Z. So you tell me what to do. And it's well, again, the idea is that you responded to me for a reason. So you have some goal or some need. So while I can just like yell at you and like give you a cookie cutter solution, I think you'd much rather I customize whatever it is to what you want. So let me know, like, is it like you're not growing fast enough sort of thing? Like, how are your margins doing? Like, are you just, are you pissing away money? And that's why some automation stuff sort of spoke to you. Just let me know, like, where are you at? Like when a customer meets your business, run me through everything from start to finish, and then maybe we could talk about like how we can make it a little bit better. So it's very much like doctor diagnosing a patient and then suggesting a prescription, but I don't like force them or try and hard close them into my own prescription, if that makes sense. So that's how I do it, and it works pretty well for me, but I'm also just very good at that because I've done the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? Like you could do an entirely different sales structure. And I used to do a bunch of different sales structures, just one of them. Auto Build Guy says, hey Nick, quick update since the last time I mentioned starting from zero, testing a different approach, offering an automated lead follow-up service. When a lead submits a form, AI voice and SMS agents follow up instantly and can book appointments straight into a business's CRM. They get a login dashboard to connect their CRMs and track everything. Curious, what do you think about this direction? That's sick, man. I'm really happy to hear. Automated lead follow-up services are pretty solid. Yeah, I think that could work. The thing that I would be wary about is the average order value of the industry. What I mean is, like, let's say hypothetically, the industry that you're trying to sell this stuff to is like an AI and automation business, right? You're just selling this to me, right? This isn't going to make much sense to me because if I make the lead feel really listened to and customized, and if I just like knock their socks off and go above and beyond, the upside for me is like in another $100,000 a year. So the average order value is really, really high in these industries. So that's where it benefits to have a person, because if a person even improves the closing rate by 1%, if instead of having some automated system, it routes to me and then I pick up the phone and I call you within like 30 seconds, aren't you much more likely to want to work with me, obviously, versus some AI voice agent? Because of average order values, the total amount of revenue that I make is way, way, way higher than the savings that I would get by being able to offload this to an AI. Does that make sense? So like if I can increase my closing rate by 1% on 100,000 average order value, I've just increased the total amount of money that I made on that deal by $1,000 approximately. How much money would I realistically pay to a human being to handle this for me? Probably like $20 on a per call basis. So I'm making $980 by like keeping it in house. Now, contrast that against very low average order value industries, okay? If you get 50 inquiries a day that you have a team constantly managing, then it makes sense to actually like offload stuff to the tune that you are mentioning over here. Because, some people are time bottlenecks, some people can't pick up the phones, a lot of people are leaking money because they can't pick up the phones. And also, if an AI like reduces the probability, of you closing a deal by even a small percentage point, the actual amount of money that reflects turns into is very low. It's like $50 or something. It's like $10, right? It's like not actually that much. So like the upside and the downside make more sense because you lose more than $10 or $15 having a human being do it. All right, Amar says, quick question, love your take on this. I work as a WordPress dev at a marketing agency. We use standard SEO page template for clients. Build an automation, then it creates 50 to 100 pages per campaign in 2 hours. Normally takes a person 3 or 4 days, follows the exact SOP we use. Running 20 to 30 and up to 50 during busy periods, the agency pays $10 a page when done manually. That's really cool. So it's a fixed thing. I estimated $3 a page based on my 2 hours of work. Does that pricing seem fair? Would you suggest charging per run or offering a monthly plan? That's really cool. I'd actually suggest doing this completely for free, offering for free for, I don't know, like one of these campaigns, showing them that you built a system that does all of this, and then charging them a monthly rate for a tiered, various monthly rates based off tiers. So don't charge per run. Don't pitch it as $3 per page, because that's a very low amount of money. What you want to do is like, $2,895 for 1,000 campaigns or something. Do you know what I mean? Because the marginal cost in your end is very low, and then you get a lot of buy-in, so the person's actually really interested in your stuff. So yeah, don't go per usage or per run pricing. Otherwise, the billing and stuff is going to be pretty crazy. And yeah. Broxton says, just finished day 5 in Maker School. Advice in soft skills alone has been pretty crazy. So Broxton closed, I think, like a $1,300 deal or $1,200 deal. I don't want to butcher it. Maybe $1,500 deal or something. Any advice you give on getting better at recording yourself speak and present? I have little to no camera experience, but I can kill it in door-to-door sales. Let me know. Yeah, dude, honestly, I was really similar to you. I had a ton of door-to-door experience, very little camera experience, and then I just like started doing Loom videos every day at massive, massive volumes, and then I just got really good at it. So to me, it's just like there's a little thing in your brain that turns on when you're in front of another human being, and you just need to find a way to turn it on when there's no human being in front of you. Because this is the exact same way that I talk to anybody, just the way that I'm talking to you right now. So I've just flipped the switch in my brain that has somehow made me think there are people listening to me, and then I talk just like I normally would talk. So you just got to talk a lot. And then last questions from the team. What is download speed, upload speed did you end up getting? Can you do a live speed test? Yeah. Do I have a speed test app? Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I don't know. We're going to find out. Whew. Yeah. So it's fast, man. It is very fast. I think we're probably up to like 1850, maybe 1900 megabits a second. So pretty close to like the 2 gigs. And then the upload speed's about a tenth of that. A little bit lower than a little bit higher than a tenth of that. Now, the benefit to this is I now upload a video in like 3 seconds or something. It's crazy. Not 3 seconds, maybe like 15 seconds. Before it would take me like literally 30 minutes. So it's immediate. And then what's really cool is I've seen a massive improvement in my community management times. The way I do my community management is I literally just open up all of the unreads here. And then I go open school tabs. Then I copy all of my links to the clipboard and then I paste it into a tool like this. Then I open up all of these simultaneously. Before, it legitimately used to take me a fair amount of time in order to like set that up. Now I do it in like literally 5 seconds. It loads all the tabs instantly and I just go boom, 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 boom. I thought about it. If I take 600 actions on the computer every single day and I can make that just 1 second faster, I've just bought myself 10 minutes. I actually sometimes do more than 600 new tabs opened. If you think, sorry, I was just talking about tabs open. If you think about it in terms of like all actions that send, receive HTTP, and I speed it up by like 0.5 seconds, and then I do 6,000 actions. Think about that. I just saved half of 100 minutes. Hold on, my math ain't so good. 0.5 times 6,000 is 3,000 divided by 60 divided by 60. It's like almost an hour. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like 50 minutes. Right, that makes sense. So collectively, I probably save like an hour a day just on this. Not gonna lie, this is like one of the biggest, stupidest bottlenecks that I had allowed myself to suffer from. And look at how quickly all my pages load. Anyway, I gotta really quickly do my brand stats because I got a flight in a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, but you know, like an hour or something like that. And I've got to make sure I'm at the airport. So I am doing this really, really quickly. Not quickly, but very like last night I did it. I did my last daily update at like 9 p.m. or something, and I'm doing it right now at like 10:53. So it's only been about 12 hours. So growth is 561. This is actually pretty good. I'm pretty stoked about that growth because it's a little bit of an uptick compared to where I was at before. My Instagram is about half of that as well. So good growth. We're on track. And then my daily updates channel, if I go to the analytics tab, 6882. If I go over here is 0.25%, which is not as good, but it is what it is. Not that big of a deal. So my main focuses and the big daily improvement today is I have my community exclusive tracker. I think it's one of the, I don't remember where this is. Maybe I go over here. Oh, geez. I've already forgotten like my, all right, well, whatever. Maybe it's churn reduction. Okay, I honestly don't remember. But anyway, I'm going through this churn reduction thing because Maker School is a fantastic community. It's making me tons of money. Wow, that's a lot of money. It's making me a ton of money, but 23.57% churn is pretty unfortunate, right? Like that's a fair amount of my community dwindling every day. So yesterday we were at like 305,000 MRR, now we're at 304,565. So like I am starting to bleed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And finally MRR is going down monthly on a monthly basis. Well, I guess on a daily basis. So what I'm trying to do is reduce churn because, I think that that's the straightest line path right now to improving the total amount of money that I'm making. And one way that I'm doing it is I'm just doing like community exclusives, which is like posts inside of Maker School that are only for people inside of Maker School and that are like very long, sort of like drawn out things. So if I go to, sorry, that's the wrong community here. If I go to Maker School, where the hell is Maker School, man? If I go to Maker School here, then I go posts. How to build a content machine and change your life in 3 months was pretty fire. I did a pretty long post here. It was an hour and 9 minutes of video where I just go through my whole content creation machine thing. Did pretty well. And yeah, now I just have like one more that I need to do, I think today or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I have to double check. But it's going to be like a Maker School exclusive. And it's going to be something like I was doing before. It's going to be like, so I did this calendar. Maybe it's just calendar or something. Man, I really need to find this. It's really stupid that I don't have access to it. I should like bookmark it or like print it out on a piece of paper and stare at it every day. Anyway, I'm thinking this is going to help. I just do think that, little, it's too little and it's a little too late. You know what I mean? So I sent a message to a bunch of my friends and I was like, I don't think Maker School is going to be number one for very much longer. And yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Is it a big deal? No, not really at the end of the world. I'm still making more money than like 99.9% of human beings. Not to mention, I think that, I'm the sort of person that I think I learned quickly, right? It's been a year since I started this whole community model stuff. And like when I started, I'd never run a community. I'd never had really any experience with communities before. And then I, became like the biggest community by revenue, probably on planet Earth, at least like lower ticket community and at least on school. That maybe there's like other communities that like I wasn't really thinking about. And not only did I like do it, but I maintained it for a really long time. And my growth was really consistent, right? It wasn't just like whoop, whoop. Like it's like consistent. The slope of the curve is like very different. A bunch of other people went like this. I was more like this. And I'm like maintaining it for a while. So what that tells me is that like I can pick up any business model at this point. I think I have like the perfect set of skills for today's environment, whether it's an agency, whether it's like an information product, like a community, whether it's like some sort of software product, anything I do, I think I will eventually be like top 1% at. And yeah, it's been really cool to like change my mindset around that because when I was younger, I was nowhere near as confident. I think I had like delusions of grandeur where I was like, I'm going to become a billionaire by the time I'm 30. And that's kind of silly. There's obviously a lot that goes into that I wasn't really considering. But then like after those delusions of grandeur shattered, I kind of got like an inferiority complex almost where I was like, oh, I can't really do this. I'm not as smart as I thought I was. I'm not as capable and as driven and like I can't do the things that I want to do. But this has definitely like shattered that limiting belief. So yeah, I guess to make a long story short, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. My battery just ran out. Perfect timing. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with where I'm going. And even if MakerScore were to disappear tomorrow, I know that I have the right set of skills that I can make anything work. I'd probably fall back on my agency in the short term. And then by falling back on my agency, I would probably scale that up to like, 150, 200K a month or something like that. Margin wise, maybe take like a third of that realistically. So I'd still have like 50 to 100K, but I'd actually like scale it up, get a really big team because it would, the social proof would help my YouTube videos. Like if I could say like, hey, here's how my agency just made $125,000 instead of just always doing the 72K thing, that'd be pretty sick, right? And then yeah, from there, I don't know what I'd do. I got a lot going on that I could do. Could go into private equity, could do a couple other things. Just playing around with all these ideas now, I guess. So yeah, that's that. Cool, man. Gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this rainbow screen has not pissed you guys off too much. And yeah, I will catch y'all in the next video. Probably record it from Montreal. Cheers.